Hi, this video is in response to a comment that I received on one of the videos I made a few months ago about how sugar doesn't cause diabetes. And I explained in the video that it's not the sugar that causes diabetes, but the fat that you eat that causes diabetes. And this is the comment that I got by Eric K. He says, "What a crock of crap. Sugar doesn't cause type 2 diabetes, then what does? Fish? Oh wait, it's the vegan diabetes doctor. Do not listen to vegans when it comes to your health. Do you think eating a piece of fish or an egg from your neighbor's chickens once in a month is unhealthy?" And I replied at first and just said, I didn't say animal foods in tiny amounts is unhealthy. Type 2 diabetes is reversible through a low-fat, whole foods, plant-based diet. This is seen in my video through the testimonials of others and in clinical studies. And Eric K says, I agree. But 99% of Americans cannot live on a plant-based diet. Tell a pre-type 2 diabetic to go on a plant-based diet. It's not happening. So you supplement plants with fish, eggs and poultry, while avoiding all sugar and junk carbs, including bread, cereal, pasta, white rice, and yes, healthy whole grains. Eggs, fish and poultry do not raise blood sugar. Saying that 99% of Americans won't do it is a bit of an exaggeration, considering that a lot of Americans, well, 1% of Americans are already vegan, and it's a growing number. So I think people are more open-minded to it than you think, and it could be just your perception of what a whole foods plant-based diet is that could be just coloring your opinion. A whole foods plant-based diet is one that has at least 80% of calories coming from carbohydrates and less than 10% coming from fats and protein. So meals are mostly starch-based or fruit-based, and you can include legumes, beans, but you would keep the fat intake low, so you would limit the consumption of vegetable oils, nuts and seeds. Also, there's elimination of all dairy, meat and eggs. This is actually sustainable because you do include grains as well, and I noticed that you said in your comment that you think grains are unhealthy, but the way to make a whole foods plant-based diet sustainable is of course to eat enough calories, and you do have to get those calories from somewhere, whether it's fruit or beans or grains, and taking away the grains would take away a large amount of the calories and make it even harder to follow a plant-based diet, and so that's maybe why you think it's hard to follow. There are a lot of resources to make things easier for people. There's a lot of YouTube channels with recipes, there's Forks Over Knives film and books. There are so many resources out there for those who want to follow a plant-based diet nowadays. There are so many resources that saying that you have to supplement with eggs or fish or poultry is just unnecessary. The junk carbs that have been defined by Eric include many health-promoting carbs, including whole grains. And I noticed also in a further comment down below that he said, explain why diabetes doctors recommend that their patients eat a lot of so-called healthy whole grains when they should be eating no grains or very limited grains. If you understood my previous video on the subject, it's not the carbs that are unhealthy, it's the fat, the fatty foods. I'll just go through the different carbs that he listed as being unhealthy. Firstly, he listed bread as unhealthy. Here's a source of information that's quite interesting. This is from Don Matez's blog. It's just about a study done by Mickelson et al. In 1979, and they wanted to see if people can eat a diet high in regular refined wheat bread and lose body fat. In summary, this study found that all participants reduced their hunger, cholesterol levels, and body weight by deliberately consuming a dozen slices of bread each day, 4 slices at each of 3 meals, more than half a loaf of bread daily, regardless of whether the bread was high in fiber or made from refined white flour. Those who abandoned this regimen gained the weight back, and those who continued to eat a diet revolving around refined white bread maintained their weight loss or lost even more weight. Eating 12 slices of bread did not increase their hunger, It did not increase their body weight. It did not increase their blood sugar levels. They had no change in blood sugar levels. It didn't raise the risk of heart disease. And this was done without inducing the headaches, nausea, malaise, fatigue, and constipation that commonly affect people, particularly women, when consuming high-fat, low-carbohydrate diets. I don't see how replacing the whole grains or the white rice or the pasta with the meat, like the fish and the eggs and the poultry, is any more healthy or sustainable for someone who wants to prevent diabetes. It's been shown that only the whole foods plant-based diet, low in fat, high in carbohydrates, can reverse diabetes, not just mask the symptoms with a high-fat, low-carb diet. I'll show you another study as well. This is the rice diet by Walter Kempner. Patients were fed fruit juice, white rice, and refined sugar, and their obesity and even diabetes was reversed, and they ate all that they cared for. So sugar is clearly not the problem. It's when you combine the sugar and the fat together that is what causes problems, and it's either you go low carb or you go low fat. But I say go low fat and high carb because our body runs on glucose. I don't know where you get the idea that grains are unhealthy. Maybe you've heard of people who have allergic reactions or maybe certain diseases related to grains, but I think they're really in the minority, and most people do really well eating whole grains. They lose weight, they keep their diabetes or heart disease at bay. So whole grains are a health food, and it's a good thing that diabetes doctors are promoting it. So the books that I recommend are The Starch Solution by Dr. John McDougall, and it explains why grains are a health promoting food. Also Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease by Dr. Esselstyn. I also recommend looking at Plant Positive's YouTube channel. He debunks a lot of the myths that are spouted by promoters of the low carb diet, particularly those who say that the meat-based diet is good for health. So he does videos on the Eskimos, the Maasai. He does videos in response to Denise Minger, Gary Taubes, and Anthony Colpo. If any of my viewers have any other further resources to recommend or any comments that might help Eric to understand why sugar doesn't cause diabetes and why it's fat that causes diabetes, then feel free to leave it in the comments. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye!